To the first story. I don't work here, lady, but do I get a discount? Hey all, I've been sitting on this since December trying to find the courage to share. It's not very dramatic, but I think it fits here. As winter was getting worse, I was finding that my old trainers were in dire need of replacing. I've had them for a few years and the soles have been worn smooth. Any trip outside was becoming alarmingly slippy. For a little bit more context, I'm transitioning. It's not really important for this story, but it might explain the mistaken identity better. On a good day, I look sort of androgynous, but I certainly still need men's sized shoes. So, the story. I'm down at my local shop in the men's section. I've been standing there a while being indecisive about brand and color. I'd already been asked by a few different employees if I needed any help, but I declined. I was trying to force myself to choose when an elderly lady comes up near me and starts making chat. She's very friendly and polite, and I'm happy to make small talk with her too. She explains she's looking for some shoes for her grandson's Christmas, but that she doesn't really know what style he'd like. She's obviously fishing for suggestions, and I'm all too happy to try to help. I spent maybe 5 minutes suggesting pairs to her until she decided on something she thought he would like. At that point, the issue turned to size, and she asked me if we had the right number in stock. It finally dawned on me that she's mistaken me for a store employee. Embarrassed, I apologized and explained that I don't work here. She seemed to find the mistake hilarious, but does apologize herself before moving on to find an actual employee. By this time, I've pretty much decided what I want myself, and having selected the shoes I like, asked for my own size. Skipping forward a little, I ended up being behind her at the checkout. As she was being rung up by the employees, she turned to me and very sweetly offered to pay for mine. I refused out of politeness, but she insisted in that way only grandmas really can. I caved in to her fussing with a compromise, suggesting that I use my student discount for the both of us. She seemed pleased enough with that, and we both went our ways quite happy with the result. So that's my I don't work here lady story. Thanks for reading. TLDR, I got mistaken as a shoe store employee, but helped this lady anyway. When I went to the checkout, she offered to buy my shoes for me, and I gave her my student discount. Well, I don't know what else to say. This story is so wholesome. The second story. 2 Karen's stories for one family. So, over the last week, my husband and I have both had to deal with some obnoxious Karens. My husband's experience happened first over the weekend. My husband works for a contractor's company and was working at a local large hospital for some renovation and upgrades. He was in the cafeteria waiting for 2 other guys so they could get to work and was very clearly wearing his company shirt that in large white letters says the company's name, and wearing a badge with his face and company name, and had tools on a tool belt. Husband is DH and Karen is K. I wasn't there, so this is how my husband told me it happened, which was backed by his 2 coworkers who came in when it got good. Karen:
Excuse me? I want someone to get me food from place famous for chicken only.
DH: sorry, I don't think they have that here. He goes back to playing a game on his phone or something. All he remembers is that he went back to his phone. Karen:
So, aren't you going to go get it?
DH: no, I'm waiting for my guys to start work. Karen shoves her leg into my husband's face. Karen:
I'm a patient here, and you have to take care of me. I want food from that place and find someone competent enough to know to put the band on my wrist, not leg.
DH: I don't work for the hospital. The registration desk is down the hall. Maybe they can help? My guys are here, so I'm going to start work. Have a nice day. She then grabbed his arm in full view of coworkers that had just come up. Karen:
I know you work here. Now go get me food.
DH: ma'am, I don't work here. Please let go of me. My husband is careful not to jerk away in case she falls since it's a hospital. He made sure she was steady and pulled his arm away and started walking towards the elevators. Karen:
Get back here and get me whoever is in charge of you to have you fired.
DH, I'm in charge of my guys today, and we are leaving. It wasn't that exciting, and he didn't see her for the rest of the day, but he got hell from, his coworkers about it. Now, my experience, which was yesterday, I work in an office building which shares about 20 separate offices with other companies. I have one near the end of the hall on the second floor by a door that is always locked. My coworker's office is down the hall, so my door is normally open for people coming to get checks or drop off contracts and checks. Further down the hall is a few other offices occupied, one of which is place that orders COVID tests and other lab tests to be sent in an independent lab. Earlier yesterday, I heard the owner of that office on the phone with someone yelling to calm down and be respectful or he wouldn't help her. I ignored most of it because it's not my business. Fast forward to yesterday afternoon and someone opened the door on the opposite end from me and started stomping down the hall. There are clear signs on the door and even arrows to point you to the specific office you need. An elevator has office numbers, mine is 12, and the other one is 16 for instance. Stomping continues and some lady wearing no mask coughing up a storm barrels into my office, slamming the door back into the wall. I had it slightly closed. I will be M for me, and the owner will be O, and lady will be B for, well, B.
I have never been spoken to so rudely in my life. How dare you speak to me that way earlier?
Keep in mind that the person she spoke to earlier was a guy with deep voice in like 60s, and I'm in my 20s, and obviously pregnant. Me, excuse me, ma'am? I'm going to need you to step out of my office and put on a mask and speak calmly or I will not help you. B.
How dare you? I have respiratory issues and don't have to wear a mask.
Me, well that is fine and good, but in my office, you have to wear a mask for me and my child's protection, or I will not help you. Either put on the mask or leave. I had no idea who she was yet, and thought someone was made at my company. B starts to come around my desk to come even close to me, and I grab my hand's sanitizer, closest thing. Me, if you come any closer, I will call the police and I will defend myself. Back up and put on a mask. B grumbles, but takes steps back until she is in the doorway.
B. You sent me to the place for COVID testing that had a bunch of people in the waiting room, and I'm testing positive because you sent me there. What are you going to do for me? I demand a refund and for you to compensate for my next test and visits.
Okay, not my company, so I'll tell her. But who the duck comes into an office with no mask after testing positive? I'm in quarantine until I can get a test done. Me. Well, you're in the wrong office. It is down the hall in suite 16. I don't work.
B. Oh, yes, you do. I talked to you earlier, tramp.
Me. Oh, no, you didn't. I don't work for them. I work for XYZ Carpenter office. Get out now before I call the police. B.
I will tell them you caused me to get COVID and have you arrested for endangerment.
At that point, the owner of my company came back and came to hear what the commotion was about. She came up, heard the police bid, and decided to step in. Owner, excuse me? Why are you causing troubles to my employee?
B. She yelled at me over the phone and made me get COVID.
Owner, wait, you're a COVID positive? And not wearing a mask to spread it to my employee and this entire building? You need to leave now or I will be calling the police.
B. You wouldn't dare.
Owner, go ahead and call. I'll stay right here until they get here. I started typing the number into my phone and the lady ran down the hall and out the door. Told the other office about it and they had all the information and will take care of it with a report. But seriously, I'm now in quarantine and so is my boss and I'm just hoping I don't have it. Update. For all the kind people who are wondering about the baby, is it too early for me to get tested, but had a doctor's appointment at my doctor's insistent after regular hours a little bit ago, and everything is perfectly fine with little man. He was moving, and heartbeat was strong, and he was measuring perfectly. They monitored his heart for about 30 minutes, and nothing out of the ordinary. Well, this B woman is worse than your average Karen. A regular Karen is just, rude and cannot get others sick. B knew she had COVID and doesn't care about spreading it to others. Horrible. The third story. Just take your warm wine coolers and go, Karen. I'm excited to type this story, so my apology if it's all over the place. I've dealt with Karens before, but not like this. I've never thought I'd encounter one in the wild. Last night, I took a trip to my local liquor store to get some bourbon for my apartment. I'll admit, I'm there often. The employees are cool, low-key, and most importantly, they don't judge me for frequent visits. I pick up a nice bottle and starts reading the label when I hear a loud ahem behind me. I turn around and see a full-blown Karen. Like when I say, this lady could be the mascot for Karen or Us. I mean it. Karen is holding a pack of blue, gross-looking wine coolers. She goes, "I'd like these cold." I chuckle politely. "Oh, sorry, I don't work here." I do a quick scan of the store and spot an employee a few aisles away stocking shelves. I point to him. Well, it looks like he does, though. I turn back around and continue reading the bottle in my hand. Karen did not accept my response. Yeah you do. I see you here all the time," she answered very rudely. I turn back, chuckle again, and say, "Yeah, they should hang a plaque in my honor for how much business I give them. But really, I don't work here." I took my bottle and continued down the aisle. Karen followed closely behind me. She was definitely not social distancing. She scoffs.
"Well, can you just go look for me anyway, since you're here so often?"
I was kinda shocked by this request. What? I simply replied with, "I'm actually on my way to checkout, but I'm sure that employee can help you." Before I could even finish, Karen huffed.
"Judging by your appearance, you mustn't have a job or life to get back to so quickly. I swear, the level of respect these days is ridiculous."
I was wearing sweatpants, so it's weird she thought I worked there in the first place. I didn't even turn around this time. I just laughed and said, "Whatever, lady. Godspeed." Karen did not like this one bit.
"What did you just say to me, you little brat?"
I know I shouldn't feel the fire, but I'm pretty sarcastic by nature and I just couldn't help it. I turned to her for the last time and said, "Well, judging by your appearance, I wouldn't expect you to know how to treat people with basic human decency. I hope those wine coolers help heal whatever wounds are possessing you to act like a child. Fingers crossed you brought your ID." It's like she malfunctioned. She just stood there dumbfounded with an awful grimace on her face. She slammed the wine coolers down on the floor and walked out of the store. I happily picked them up and brought them back where they belonged, earning a smile and a nod from the employee. Let me tell you, the bourbon tasted even better after that. But Karen said that, I see you here all the time. Does that mean she's there as often as you are? To the fourth story. Oh, lady, please. I'm just trying to get the cake ingredients. So, this just happened an hour or so ago. My grandmother and I went out shopping to get ingredients for my birthday dinner and the cake I'm going to make. My birthday is in 2 weeks, but the ingredients we needed are on sale and most of them are canned, so we went to get them today. My grandma decided it would be faster if I were to take the basket and grab the cake mix and pineapple and any other mixes we needed at home, and she went to get the peas, orzo, and bacon bits. I found the pineapple cans pretty fast, so I had plenty of time to look all the cake and brownie mixes. I had some music playing in my headphones, so I couldn't hear anything around me. While I was looking, someone tapped me on the shoulder. I assumed I was standing in their way, and they needed something from the shelf I was looking at. I said, "Oh, I'm sorry," and stepped aside. I saw the lady start talking, so I pulled out one of my earbuds.
Lady, can you help me find...
Whatever item it was, I don't remember. Me, knowing where most of the items are. Oh, that should be in aisle number, unless they rearranged the store.
Lady, well, aren't you going to show me where it is?
Me, oh, sorry, I'm actually looking for cake mixes and I don't work here. I should probably note that most employees at this store wear vests and I was wearing an olive green shirt I had just gotten for Christmas.
Lady, oh, don't lie to me. You obviously work there.
She gestures toward my lanyard, which I have a picture of my late husky hanging on. It also have a key to my home, which I have just in case I get locked out. Me, getting really anxious because I don't like confrontation. Oh, lady, please. This is just a picture of my old dog and a key to my home. I told you where your state should be, so please, leave me alone. You're making me uncomfortable. Lady, getting irritated.
I'm not leaving you alone until you take me to where the item is.
At this point, she had started raising her voice and had caught the attention of some people nearby. One guy who looked about my age walked up and asked if she was bothering me. Before I could get a word out, the lady started going off. Lady,
this young lady won't show me where the item is.
Other stuff I don't remember because I was trying to hold back tears. Guy, lady, she doesn't work here. She goes to my high school. I know her. Leave her alone. At this point, the lady spotted an actual employee and walked off to cause trouble to them. I thanked the guy, who, for the record, actually does go to my school. I just didn't recognize him, and went back to picking out mixes. TLDR, lady thinks I work at a store because I'm wearing a lanyard and know where the specific item she needed was. Guy from my high school ends up saving me from an anxiety attack. Well, kudos to the young man who intervened for you. On to the fifth story. I don't actually work here either, lady. I was at my local convenience stores, Tesco, UK, and there's a wild Karen who frequents the shop. I've personally never directly interacted with her, but I've seen her piss people off, both staff and customers. On this particular day, I've walked in and heard her distinctive voice from a couple of aisles away, demanding this, threatening that, saying things like,
"Of course you work here, don't lie to me."
And I'm headed in that direction anyway. I walk into the right aisle, and there before me is a raging Karen facing away from me, and a confused and annoyed looking customer in front of her. I hear those keywords,
"I want to talk to your manager."
And a wicked plan comes to me. I am the manager, and I don't appreciate your behavior towards my staff and customers. Karen turns to face me with a look of rage and confusion. I get right up close to her and quietly add, "In fact, you can leave. I don't want to see you in my shop anymore. I'm giving you 30 seconds to get out of here before I call the police." 25! The customer she's been berating is wearing a shocked and relieved grin. Karen is fuming.
"What about my shopping?"
"Oh, screw your shopping. Leave it behind and get the hell out. I don't want to see you here again." Karen harums noisily, turns tail and walks out. The berated customer turns to me and says, "Thank you for getting rid of her. That was brilliant. I've never seen any of the manager act so decisively. I'm impressed." "Oh, actually, lady, I don't work here either. But that was fun. Oh, don't tell anyone though. I like shopping here." What a great idea. We all should remember this tactic for future usage. That's it for today, fellow humans. Thanks for watching. Be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. See you guys next time.